How are you?
I'm well. I'm very, very good. First and foremost, before we jump into it, holy cow, I'm so unbelievably proud of you, man.
Thank you. It feels unreal.
I'm sure. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. These are the most prestigious things that you can do currently inside of our card game. And so the fact that you just kind of nailed it as you did is really it's cool. It's very, very cool. So, basically, what we're gonna do, chat and other peeps on YouTube, is we're just gonna sit down. We're gonna talk with the provisional winner, Daniel Nelson, to get to know a little bit more about you, kind of like a player profile, and talk about the event a little bit, talk about your future plans with the game, so on and so forth. So, with that said, man, tell me a little bit about you as a person and as a player, not just of My Hero, but as card games, nerd culture, so on and so forth. Right? Give me the elevator pitch. Who's Daniel?
Yeah, for sure. So, I've been playing card games since sophomore year of high school, which for me was 2014. Played, yeah, played Yu-Gi-Oh first. Um, and I played
2014,
through
huh?
like yeah, like 2014, maybe 2015 actually, junior year.
Yeah, right, right,
Played
right.
through like the Shadal meta and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like Necroz and all of that, and
Yeah.
then they banned Shadal Construct and I quit. Um,
Attaboy. Attaboy. Stick it to them, Konami kids.
I know I was like, yeah, I just dropped all this poor high schooler money on this deck, and then they just banned it, and then I realized it's what they do every year.
Every single year.
So
Yep.
yeah, so I dropped that pretty quick, and then moved to Magic. And I couldn't really travel, so I only played in like a couple of majors. Um, I played in the last PPTQ that there ever was, and I
Okay.
topped it, but I didn't clutch it. I was playing like a rogue deck, and
Mm.
I like playing like rogue control decks in Magic.
Okay.
Um, because like I'm like a meta fiend. Like I just really love studying the meta in
Right.
any game.
Yeah.
And so like I felt like rogue decks that had like surprise factor, but that rewarded meta knowledge were like where I kind of was best at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then moved to modern, and just played like a mindless infect aggro deck because uh that I don't know. I was just playing it for one event, so
Here's my magic career. You ready? So
yep.
the I'm a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and the Dungeons and Dragons set came out, and so I decided to grab one of the Dragon Commander decks and exclusively put Dungeons and Dragons cards in it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, so like everybody keeps trying to give me a bunch of these super sweet dragons, and I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't have the little D&D symbol on it, so I just I'm all right.
Yeah, I always like one hit. Like I've only played Commander a couple times, and I just played like an Elf Infect list, and it's just pretty funny to like give a bunch of elves like plus 20 damage, plus trample, plus infect, and just like swing at everybody.
Crazy,
But
crazy,
uh,
crazy.
but anyway, yeah. So, but yeah, I'd say the most serious I've ever been about a card game, definitely MHA. But I heard about it through the anime. I don't remember how, but I pre-ordered some boxes
Okay.
in like March, like before it came out. Um, and then I didn't look up any spoilers or anything. I was like, oh yeah, those boxes are getting here soon, and I like ripped open two, saved two. Um,
You still haven't saved?
be- yeah, I have two first eds that I haven't opened.
Ooh, ooh.
Um,
Those will
because I
be
was like,
those will be
oh
money
man,
if we ever get big.
yeah. I mean, honestly, that was like my main motivation for joining the game. It was like an investment at first. I was like, well, like it could be like Pokemon, and set one be super pricey,
Yeah,
and
maybe one day in
yeah,
25, 30 years.
yeah, 25, 30 years, even though MHA is ending, so probably not.
Yep.
But uh March 2021. And so I just showed up. I didn't know any of the cards, but I wanted to play Tokoyami, and then just put together like a list with all his cards,
Right.
and then just slowly started tuning it. I was like, this feels bad. This feels good. This feels bad. And just played like 1,000 games
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
Tokoyami.
Yeah. So I'm gonna backtrack to something you said
Yep.
previously. This is the first game that this is the most competitive you've ever been in a card game.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
you've played big events for Yu-Gi-Oh, you've played big events for Magic, and you feel that this is the most competitive you've been. Expand upon that thought, because like it feels like the big Magic events are like more competitive than what we've done, right?
Oh, I mean, in terms of like how I'm approaching it,
Love that.
like
Okay.
yeah, and I'm like approaching it to win. Like the top 32 thing that came out like really inspired me. I was like, I really want to get into this top 32,
Yeah.
and then I was like, what's the track that I can take to get there? Who am I playing against? Like, what do I have to do?
Right.
Um, and so even though these provisionals don't really do anything towards that, like they don't give any points or anything, they're just my chance to like do all of these just gives me practice against top tier players.
Right.
And like every match that I play against someone like Ryan Field or Kevin Broberg, I take it and I watch it like 20 times and I'm like, okay, what decisions are they making and what decisions am I making and where's like the mismatch?
Dang.
Um,
Actually insane. There's so much that you're just dropping that I want to dive into, right? Cuz like first and foremost, the things that you do right now, and I'm not talking to you, Dan, I'm talking to everybody out there. The things that you're doing right now in these regionals are or provisionals are going to add up to things that will get you there for the later events, right? So the top 32 players in the entire world are going to get invited to this 250,000 tournament, and like that's why I think these type of talks are important. These type of interviews are important. I'm really bummed that I missed the first two provisional winners interviews, but there is a fan vote, and Universes UFS has been so community driven that as soon as like I mean. As soon as you say the name Phil Birch, besides knowing what the podcast, the Unfun Stuff podcast is, like that's a name. You know who Dave Wagner is. You know who Kevin Broberg is. He didn't have to go win these events, but we're so tight knit, community driven that like there it is, right? Like even myself, like the only thing that I've done in this game besides making this content is I won the first 1K that existed, right? The PPG 1K. That's it. I haven't done anything else. But my name is out there not because of that, but because of how in the community I am. So the more that you can put your name out there, the more you can top these events, even these little baby regionals, which or provisionals, which these numbers of provisionals, the numbers that are people are going to be playing in them is going to dwindle, especially at this this Origins Ohio thing. There's going to be fucking 25 person provisionals. It's not the 250 that we're supposed to be hitting or whatever.
yeah, yeah. And I can't make it out to Ohio. It's like too quick
For
after
sure.
Vegas.
For sure.
But yeah, like it's just mostly just a chance for me to get really good practice and try to break down like people's play styles. Like I'm just trying to kind of download them, and see
Love
like,
that.
like how are they approaching like each turn, and can I learn anything from that?
Are you a big fan of Super Smash Brothers?
Yeah, I played Melee for a while,
Like competitively?
in high schools. No, like I went to like one locals when Mewtwo King and Wobbles were visiting,
Okay.
and I just got like my ass kicked by an 8-year-old. So I'm definitely not like a competitive player.
It is interesting
But
that you say that, because I was actually gonna compare what it is that you're doing to some of the lab work that Mewtwo King did whenever he first came into the game, right? Like sitting at home and like counting whose jabs were quicker frame wise, right? Just like
yeah,
on his own, which is like insane. Going back and how many times I've ever rewatched my games? None.
how many
I watched them once, I guess, to edit them to put up the video. That's it. Yeah.
really? I like obsessively watch my games like over. Like I've seen every one of my Top Cut games that's been streamed like at least like 15, 16 times.
Wowzers.
Especially I like to do it as soon as it's over. I go back and watch it immediately while I can still remember what was in my hand for every game.
Hmm.
So I can think about like making sure that I did the right line for
Okay.
attacks on my
Okay.
end. But then later, like once I've kind of like reinforced what my hand was, and I'm not worried about forgetting it, um, then I'll watch it like every couple of hours and just try to come up with a fresh take. Be like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done this block here or
Wow.
something else.
That is actually that's crazy. The amount of the amount of time that you put into put into this, and it, I mean, it's paying dividends, right? Like you went and you kind of swept this tournament. You had a singular one loss, one tie, right? X4
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I lost to Pippa and I tied with Crown X. I think I was in like a pretty good position for the Crown X match, but it was a slow matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not sure necessarily that he would have gone for the kill turn if he wasn't in time and like he didn't have last turn. But I did draw. I just looked at my next hand just for funsies, and I had like 3 Eat My Sticky Balls, 2 Tongue Whips, and I was like, yeah, it's probably a good one.
Probably a good turn. Love that.
But
Love that. Yeah, I think like that idea, and that's really going to separate you from like the good players and the great players is going back and doing all of that work. Do you consider yourself like a naturally gifted Universes player?
no, no way. I mean, but I've been really lucky in my locals because Quentin Thomas, like I have to give props. He's such an aggressive player.
Yeah. Yes.
That
Yes. Yes.
he's really honed my defense because I have to go into every match versus him thinking like I can't just like take a hand that will be good if I live past turn 2. Like I have to be actively trying to survive every single turn of the game.
Hmm.
Um, so it shaped my like mulligan decisions and my deck building choices, and I just also have a lot of practice blocking.
For sure. For sure. And so I don't want to say that you give all of uh your success to him, but do you think that the play group that you have IRL helps you more than like if you were to try and play all these games online?
I think so. I think when I was starting the game, yeah, like because he loves the game a lot as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started playing, like he was just happy to have someone I think that just like wants to play all the time. So we were playing like 20, 30 hours per week at least.
Playing 20,
At
30
least.
hours, watching
Yeah,
your hour-long
like
match 20 times? When do you have time, man?
I wasn't watching because I wasn't like topping. Like this is like pre any big tournaments.
Okay.
This was just like from like October to February.
Okay. Okay.
Just playing a ton of hours. Like I played like 500 hours on TTS before the first provisional. And that's all MHA because I didn't own it
Dang.
before. So
Dang.
um yeah, so I played a lot. Now I feel like more the rewatching my own matches helps me more.
Okay. Then
Because
it's
I feel like I have like
grinding.
the base stuff down, yeah. Like not down, like I still am making blocking mistakes, but it's easier to see like concrete things and try to incorporate it into like my pre-existing heuristics about like uh, my decision making matrix and say I think that this actually was a wrong decision, or I think that I made the right decision but they just happen to have a good answer to it, but like
Mm-hmm.
statistically it still works out to be the correct decision. And that's something I learned from poker is like sometimes you do everything right and you still lose.
Yeah.
So you can't be too like scared about dying. Like sometimes you're just gonna lose and you did everything right.
Hey, that's
In
why
this
this game's
game,
two
when
and
you
three.
make
You know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this game you make a billion decisions, so there's definitely more of like a gap. Like when you make little incorrect decisions, they snowball.
Correct.
Um,
Yeah.
but
It's
um, yeah.
turned a lot of my Magic friends off of the game, honestly, is because there's actually
Mm.
just too much card text on the board, and they're like, the game state's just too hard to figure out. And I think it really is like it's a muscle that you have to build up of like understanding what we talked on stream one time about mind body heart players. I mean, it is a muscle you have to build up as a body player to like not miss enhances, not miss responses, know when I'm supposed to trigger some things. It does take, this game takes practice to be good at. It's very hard to come in as a true natural like and just like mollywop a tournament. I've only ever seen one person do that. They went to like a 30-man. It's actually the event that I won with Faye during Universes. I had a Magic buddy come in, learn the game in 3 weeks, and then take a really strong deck and then just like go. And he's like top Pro Tour circuits and whatever. Got second at the one event, was like, I'm not really feeling the game, and jumped out, which is cool, totally fine. But I think it's really hard to just like come in and just like be amazing. Let's
Yeah, yeah.
go ahead.
No, no. I was just saying like yeah, when I was first learning like all the enhances and stuff, I would like split all my cards into like stuff that's relevant only on offense and only on defense, and like two
Hmm.
physically different sides of the board. And so I just like look at the chunk and be like, okay, on offense this is relevant, and I'm
Yeah.
staring at those. Um, but as I like grew with deck building, like I wanted less and less cards that did only one thing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I want almost everything to do something on offense and defense. So yeah, you just have to watch at that point.
Yeah. Let's actually move on to the main event, the reason we're here. You're not some random, you're some guy that won a provisional. Let's talk about your thought process before the event. You're a Tokoyami simp. You
Yeah,
love the bird. Yeah.
yeah.
Played the bird past couple provisionals. I keep trying the word regional because I'm prepping for this week, next weekend. Um,
Yeah.
uh, what made you switch from bird to frog? From crow to frog.
So after I saw Marcus win the provisional, it like lit a fire under me because I had top eighted the last two, but I was like truly upset that someone won with Tokoyami before me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to like try as hard as I can, and like I really want to do as best as possible at this next one. Um, and so I was thinking about meta choices and like not trying to lock myself into Tokoyami, like just trying to free myself from that. And thinking, okay, like what realistically is the meta breakdown look like? I thought there were gonna be a ton of Tokoyamis, and if they modeled their deck after Marcus's, that is like a super heavy turn two focus.
Right.
And I don't think when I'm coming to the mirror, I think having a slower Tokoyami paired against a hyper turn two Tokoyami is like a big disadvantage.
Agreed.
So even though I'm favored in the field, in my opinion, like I think I'll do better against water decks and no moves and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that I would definitely lose that matchup, like all things equal.
Okay.
So I wanted to make a deck switch, and then I was like looking at air decks. I thought Ochako and Jiro were interesting, but what I didn't like was their reliance on momentum and everybody teching to attack momentum.
Right.
Like I didn't want to play against a bunch of capture evildoers that just wrecked my whole game.
Right.
Uh, so I went to Froppy, and of the Froppy lists that I saw, have always really respected Jose's list because it's such a defense first mentality,
Yeah.
and I feel like staying alive can help you win games that you're otherwise like have like no right to win. Like for example, versus Nick Reagan. When I just like drew zero attacks 3 or 4 turns in a row, but because I was able to wall, I just eventually drew the hand. Like there's just a big eventuality to it.
Yeah, there is a like a thought process where like the game actually boils more down to, as opposed to I'm trying to win the game, is I'm trying not to lose the game. And if you have that mentality going in, then you will more likely not lose the game and then squeak out your win off of a backswing or something along those lines. And Asu is one of those characters that can for sure. I mean, Chris said it maybe 30 times during the weekend. She can kill you from any board state, and so if you have a good strategy that can get you to the late game and you can still kill somebody versus turn two, Atsui accidentally just draws 6 attacks and is legally allowed to play them all on 5s. There's something to be said about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely accidentally killed people all the time. Just kidding.
I love that. I definitely accidentally killed people. That's so funny. So let's jump into the day, right? Like let's hit it. Anything stand
Yeah,
out rounds 1 through 3? Because it was a 6-round event. No.
it
It
was
was an
8.
8-round event. Yeah, because I went 5-3 because I'm the 5-3 king. It was an 8 round event. First 3 rounds right before our lunch break. Anything interesting happen?
Yeah, so I played versus Sol Pina, the All Might 3 from Top Cuts who had a drop for Easter, in round 1.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, that was a 2-0. He's always super. I played him in the 1K twice as well, and it's so funny playing him because he just compliments me the whole time. He's just like, "Oh man, you're such a good player," and I'm like, "Please stop." And
You're being too
and
polite.
yeah, I just like
Trash talk me a
poked
little.
him. I know. I poked him. I went down to 2, and then I strung out with Frigid, and then I did that 2 games in a row, like where I
Mm,
went down to 2 both games and just like
wow.
blocked the lethal stuff and backswung.
Okay.
Played versus a new Bakugo that I'd played at the webcam weekly, that week, and yeah, I mean, I just blocked everything, and killed him. He's newer, so we just talked about the game. Round 3 played versus a Froppy from the Minnesota Playgroup, and that
Okay.
was a really close match because I lost the dice roll, and they killed me the first game, and they were playing like giant ice walls and Crowan frogs and stuff, so they were just
Ooh.
like picking apart my board.
Mhm.
So I had to play it very tightly, and then like that was my tightest match of the event because in game 3 he like stunned out my board. I cleared all my blocks, but he played a giant ice wall, which was the only thing slow enough for me to block. Um,
Oh.
Rather than a frigid. And then I had to check a 5, and then he had to check a 3 to fail his last attack, and both of those things happened. So
Wowzers.
I almost lost round 3.
Okay. Yeah, and that would have put you out of the tournament, right?
That would have been my first
X
loss. So
X2-1 doesn't get you there if the rest of your day
oh
goes
right,
as it
if it
does.
was the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't think I would have been paired into
it's fair. It's
the
fair.
same. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
butterfly
first
effect.
provisional I lost match 1. Um, and
It happened to me this time. Yeah, I feel it.
yeah.
Um, lunch break happens right during like after this round, before round 4, correct? And
Yeah.
then we move on 4 to 6. Starting to really climb up that ladder. Because going into an event 3-0, like you start trying to find the killers, right? So like rounds 4 through 6, anything crazy, anything noteworthy happen inside these rounds? Who'd you play, so on and so forth?
Yeah, round 4, I played versus an Algero. I think that was just a good matchup for me. I remember him complaining about checking badly, but I just remember all the attacks being super mid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because it was like a staff strike deck.
Right.
So
Yeah, mids and lows, no highs.
yeah, everything was very easy to block. Um, and so I just didn't take any damage. Um, and then I played Brandon Jones round 5.
Big shout outs.
Big shout outs. We just like poked back and forth, and then I went all in first, basically. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't find the attack strings. I don't know what his hand was,
That's
but
fair.
both
That's
games
fair.
went like I played Eat My Sticky Balls, he took it. He played Eat My Sticky Balls, I took it, and then I killed him, and that happened 2 times in a row.
So, do you think listen, you've played the Froppy matchup twice now, right? Inside
I
this tournament?
played at this point, yeah.
Yeah. So what's your thought process going into it? You've now won the mirror twice, one very close, one you kind of you drew the hand. Is that kind of just like the idea of the mirror is like who draws it hot first?
I think like it's a super big game of chicken. Like both people have. I don't think the first Froppy was playing sticky balls or like really defensive cards. But in the defensive mirror, you know, a lot of those resources are like one-time uses, and so if
Right.
you can bait them out, and then go for a swing the next turn, you have a good shot. But so it's kind of like a little dancing match about who's gonna commit first,
Okay.
and then if you commit and you don't kill them, you probably just lose.
That makes sense. Yeah. So after you absolutely thrashed Brandon and it wasn't even close,
No,
uh, round 6 comes along. Who'd you fight?
I played Pippa, uh, and Pippa was playing a Chaos Clown card deck that was very cool, where they started with Ochako,
Mm-hmm.
and then they won game 1. They decided into Midnight. I won. I just don't think Midnight is very good.
Yeah.
So I was like feeling good about Midnight going into game 3, and then she set into Tokoyami, and I was like, oh man, I don't know how to handle this. And I made the mistake of dipping my toe into Deadlock, and then just got triple ice stormed, and I had a bunch of attacks in hand and a plus ultra, and so I checked a plus ultra to survive on a 15, and I checked a 3 and checked a 14. So it's like, yeah, but then Pippa just pops the fuck off on me, and goes like, oh my gosh, I beat the bird with the bird. It just like yells in my head, and I'm stressed. So I'm so tired, and
Yeah.
I was trying so hard to get this 6-0 so I could draw and go to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and so I was already just dreading the prospect of the next match, and then you have someone pop off on you, and I was just like shaking my head, but
It's like, dang. She's savage. She's savage.
yeah, but still super cool to play against.
Yeah, I've
It was funny later.
I've been telling people I know exactly how you feel. It happens every time I lose on stream. I lose on stream to somebody and they go, I do love your content though. Big fan,
I
big
do.
fan of your content. Yeah, it was like you're a huge inspiration. It was sick how I just rolled you though, but man, love the stuff you do. Keep that up. And I'm just gonna grit my teeth and be like, yep, yep, thanks, yep, yep.
The
So I
fact
get
that
it.
she whipped out "I killed the bird with the bird" was what got me. It's not even like, yeah.
It was awesome.
Uh,
It's so awesome. And you said I'm tired. What had you so tired?
because I was just off 2 hours of sleep. I just couldn't sleep. I can't really sleep the night before big tournaments. Just have a tough time because I'm just thinking about every meta matchup in my head while I'm like laying down in bed.
Take a
So
NyQuil, man. Just conk out for a bit, you know?
yeah, I'll probably try that one next time.
Just enjoy. Get some chamomile, some warm milk. Put on a bedtime story. Just conk out.
Yeah, dude, I'll try. But the last time I tried to take a NyQuil, I was just like in a fever dream, but still conscious. So and maybe I'll double the dose or something.
Just little Tokoyamis dancing it around your head.
Yeah, if I OD before the regional, I'm gonna let everybody know it's Tamron.
Yeah, well, I'll have to take the video down for sure.
Okay.
So we've finally hit our first loss for 5-1. Heading the last two rounds. We got round 7. What's going on?
Yes.
Nerves a little higher. We can't mess up nearly as bad now.
Right, so I repeat my match versus Crown Axe from Provisional 2. I played him after my loss to Dinky with Thomas Redmond in Provisional 2.
Okay.
And I was super tilted after that, so I just like I was like mindlessly aggressing and lost that one. So in this round 7, I was like trying to. Well, first of all, I think the matchup's a little easier because you can wall Mina
Right.
much better.
Right.
But so I was just trying to take the lessons from that and play it super slow and controlled. I don't know if I necessarily played it too slow, but we went 1-1 and then just ran out of time. Like I stopped the kill turn, but yeah.
Didn't quite have enough minutes to swing back.
Yeah, the game he did kill me though. I remember he played tongue whip, checked in amphibious, played the amphibious. So I'm like sitting at 4 cards clogged in pool, and then I get baseballed. I'm like, yeah, like that seems like something I'm supposed to do, but sure.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One of my favorite things about Mina is the fact that like she kind of just goes into her turn, and then sometimes it just gets like way cooler. She's just like, oh, that's a neat piece. Yoink.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love the amphibious check a lot. Like because amphibious sucks to play, but
Yes.
it's awesome for free.
Yeah, it's so money for free, for sure. So you hit the tie, and so this last round you have to win. You're not allowed to tie, right?
Right. Yeah.
X 1-2s don't make it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I go into the match versus Sato, and the first thing he's like, "Hey man, you want to draw?" And I'm like, I don't think we can draw." and we like go through the math for like 3 minutes while I'm like trying to like break it easy. To him like, yeah, we're at this many points. You need to be at this many points.
Just tell him no.
Yeah,
tell
like,
him absolutely not.
I was like, if it was possible, I would. Trust me, but it can't. And then I just like just got to shut him out of the game because I just walled him super early, and he just never had a piece to get past it. So I don't think I took any damage that game. I didn't record that one because I forgot to ask permission. But
okay.
I just remember walling him and then like one-shotting him two games in a row. And then he's like, yeah, man, I mean, it's cool. Like, have a great night. And then he's like a local for Wesley Bittner, who was a Jiro who topped the first one.
Right.
And Wesley said later, he was like, yeah, he was pissed. Like,
yeah. I mean, it is so crushing. I mean, I've gone to 2 of these provisionals and gone 5-3, right? Like it is so crushing this last winning in round. Like you just like 15th, I'll take 15th, right? And then you just like you get rolled and like you didn't quite have the chance to go for the ID. Like it's just all rough. But yeah,
I felt very bad.
Yeah, it can be so crushing, but like I mean, there's more events, right? Like there's no reason to ever take a loss, even at like the winning in and be like, I'm done with the game. This sucks. I mean, you're close, right? Just the cards fall just a little better in your favor, and it works out.
Yeah, my least favorite part of this game is winning a match because I feel like really bad for my opponents most of the time. Like almost everybody is super cool, and I just hate like that there is a loser at the end of it. Like
Yeah,
I'm
for
just trying to
sure.
have fun like playing the game, and it feels like awkward bad every time.
And our game is so involved, right? Like every
Right.
single decision matters. It matters so much. Like even Schneedy in the chat, yeah, Tam stunned 10 of my foundations in one turn. That was fun. Like I don't know what I can do to let you have more fun during that turn. There isn't anything that I can do for you to have more fun then.
But
And
I
so
am not
like
playing a for fun deck either. Like my deck is saying no
yeah,
most of the time.
for
So
sure. One
yeah,
of them Florida boy decks for sure.
yeah.
So we get into top cuts at what place, Daniel?
Fifth or sixth? I think sixth.
Okay, that's tight. That's tight. This is the first time you're at the top of the bracket, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I was like 12th, and then I was like 10th or 11th. I don't remember.
Okay, so you do get to go first versus some random you've never played before in top
Right.
cuts, and his name
Brandon Jones.
was
Yes.
Brandon Jones, who you've now
Yeah.
fought twice in rounds over the course of these provisionals, and now twice in top cuts.
Only once in rounds. Only this tournament in rounds, but
Oh,
twice
okay,
in top cuts. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, this is you keep running into this man.
Yeah, and this his deck kind of betrayed him in this match. Like match one, game one, we both just walled up again. I poked with frog kick, and then the next turn I just strung out like tongue whip, frigid, frog lashing plus ultra double the damage. Like so random. And then so I just had like a going first tempo advantage, and then I just found the kill string pretty much.
Right.
I got a good poke, but that's pretty much all I did that I would say like was special about that
Did
turn.
it
And
feel
then
like
game
you?
two.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, no, for sure.
Did it
Didn't
feel
feel
like
like
he was able to push back, or do you kind of feel like this was just in the bag?
I feel like so I was always pretty careful to hold up like most of my wall. Like I never really committed anything. And so I think it's hard to want to aggress into that. I'm used to it. Like I just am playing Tokoyami against water decks a lot. I just get put in that position a ton. And so I just try to look for ways to like throw the frog kick out. I don't give it speed. Because I wouldn't give it speed whether I want it to be blocked or do want it to be blocked.
Right.
Um, so that's like a concept called balance from poker, where you want your actions to give as little information about your intent as possible, or like the
Mm.
contents of your hand. So like I try to disguise what I'm doing by doing the same thing in multiple scenarios. Um, and so like a lot of times I'll throw out the frog kick. I may want it to get blocked because I have that uh, tongue
The
whip.
whip. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't want it to be blocked because I want the kick, the poke. But I just do the same thing every time so that there's no way to like infer what I really want. You just have to guess.
You're making me have a lot of follow up questions. Do you feel like your skills in other games, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, now you're bringing up poker for the second time,
Right.
have influenced your play inside of the MHA card game? And if so, what are the ways that these games have influenced you in positive or negative ways?
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention poker, but I guess I played that a year like as like a main source of income.
Oh wow.
Um yeah, I mean just but um the poker like concepts that I took are about like the more consistency, like looking for like the racers like edge percentages. Like that's why I kept my Tokoyami to 50. I understand not every deck is trying to do that, so like I was fine with Froppy at 60.
Mm-hmm.
Because she wants more variety, whatever. She doesn't care about one individual card necessarily more than the other, but um and then the other approach was balance, like I said. Like just making sure that you give as away as little information to your opponent as possible while trying to take in as much information from your opponent as possible and trying to
Right.
like I'm talking to people a lot like during the match, and I'm really trying to like get them to give something up even though I'm super friendly about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much paying attention to what they're saying and trying to like infer any information as possible like about their blocks or about if they have a lot of attacks they're waiting to play and etc.
So you're really playing the game not with the cards, but you're playing the game with an individual, right? And you could say a lot of your success was talking, reading body language via webcam, or like using context clues of the things that they said. Oh man, another high attack, like things like this, right?
Yeah, like zero body language. But when someone draws their hand and they're like, "That's rough," like that's kind of like an innocent thing to say. But I'm thinking like, okay, maybe they have like 2 3 attacks max. Like they don't have lethal through maybe one block. Like I'm just like I can be a little more disrespectful. Um, but also just about information from how they're playing cards. Like if I'm trying to imagine myself in that position, like what does an attack string look like if I'm playing their deck? And
Right.
so what am I playing first? What could I potentially still have to think about, what I need to block?
So everybody out there at home, if you want to beat Daniel, don't talk to him. There it is.
Yeah.
Just play a very
Seriously,
silent game.
people that don't talk to me, I probably I would have like a worse win percentage versus because they're not giving away that information.
This is
For
some
sure.
big Shenzo energy. We just got done watching an episode. Of literally, you talk to Daniel Nelson and you lose. That's so
No,
awesome.
I mean, I give away information too. But when I give away information, I try to be conscious about it and I try to just like do it for fun and to like help the spirit of the match. Um, and like keep people's mood up because that will also make them more likely to reveal something to you.
For sure. Yeah. I remember a chat that I got. I don't remember if it was on a YouTube comment or somebody jumped in my chat of they were like, yo, I hate this guy. I hate how nice he is all the time. He goes, every time that my opponent like plays a lethal move, he goes, man, I love that. How disrespectful. Until they realized it was just like, I'm just like trying to be nice about the game. Like you have good beats and I have bad beats. I have good beats, you have bad beats. There's certainly a back and forth. You got to have fun with the, 4-letter word game.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and emotional control is like a big thing to take away from poker too, because like like there's lots of times where you just lose a bunch of money, and like even if you're making correct decisions, like
Mhm.
you just go on a downswing, and so like when you're sitting there and you're like trying to pay rent and you're down like $2,000 that night, you're like, well, this sucks, but you have to like control it because like that's what you're doing.
Next
So,
time it's going to hit though, right? Let's just keep
if
let's
it
keep
happens like 10 nights in a row, it sucks.
putting
Yeah.
that quarter in the machine, It's I'm
Right.
due. Hey, I'm due though.
Dude.
I'm due.
Yeah, I try not to think about it like that, but it does get stressful when you get huge strings of bad luck like Brandon Jones.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the bad luck is having to face this man at all.
He just always checks his attacks man, every single time. I
Yeah.
don't know, but yeah.
So what moving into top 8. Moving to top 8, you had a close game with Brandon. What do you play in top 8? Because your opponent comes into the room and says that they have to leave to Easter, and just kidding, it's not actually your opponent.
Yeah, someone hard tilted me. They said that they were dropping and they weren't really my opponent. And then I made them my enemy or whatever. And then so I'm playing versus the Ochako that you played in your last round, and I was like trying to find out what they were playing for a while because I didn't see a list posted anywhere, and I was trying to think about the match at a time, and then I remembered you saying this name and calling him baseball Ochako. So like, okay, it must be a bunch of home run comments. Like it's just a home run comment Ochako deck. So I go into the match. I'm like, so watch out for the home run comments, right? And the guy's like, yeah, I guess.
So what you're saying is like at least 95% of your success is because I helped you because I
Right,
streamed my game, right?
right.
And so like because you're a diehard fan of twitch.tv/TamCardwell, you won the provisional.
Yeah, I did have more information.
Yeah,
Did help.
I'm putting that on my business cards. I'm just letting you know. In the
Yeah.
description of this video, watch my stream. You'll win a provisional.
Yes, and I think he just I mean no I don't want to say anything too bad, but he just made an unfortunate blocking decision. I feel like to block and eat my sticky balls,
Mm.
and like commit out his board, and then he just like didn't have the numbers to block anything else, and then I got to string out for free. And I think that it happened game one. Game two I just had a crazy. Oh yeah, I drew 6 attacks turn two. So good luck. Like I built 5, did 6 attacks. So
Yeah, what do you do?
yeah,
What do you
yeah.
what do
That
you
that
do?
was the pachinko machine. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't even have to run the one check, right?
yeah. That was probably my best hand all tournament.
Hell yeah,
So
hell yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of like trying to figure out how to leverage good blocks, which I guess I didn't get a chance to do my blocking 101 Tam talk before the weekend. So, what do you do? You know?
I know that if you had put that up, then it goes completely differently.
Totally.
I lose in top
100%.
8. One another time, and my Brandon Jones curse and my top 8 curse are unbroken.
For sure,
But
for sure. So we move into top 4. We move into top 4. Who are you fighting?
I'm fighting Nick Reagan versus Sato, and Nick. I had the
Mm.
most fun of the tournament playing Nick. Cause it was just like very fun banter the
Yeah.
whole match, and he was just talking about how he just wanted to like blow me up, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm gonna wall you. I'm gonna slow this match as much as possible. And that ended up happening. Like I just we I think I walled every game. He got an early kill maybe match 2.
Okay.
I have to rewatch that. I don't remember match 2 very much. Um, but then match 3, I just threw absolutely nothing. And built 18 foundations, and he didn't have a card that said deadlock on it in his deck, so I just got to wait.
I mean that is one of the things about like going to having a 3-game format is you get to like kind of figure out how your opponent's deck works and then adapt to it. Like they don't have that D word. We don't care how many foundations are on our board. The more foundations are on the board when I cycle, the more attacks I get to draw. You know.
Right. I will say he definitely honeypotted me though, and made me think he was playing a spicy blitz rush. But then by game 3, I kind of figured out, no, I don't think there's a blitz rush in here.
It would be
uh,
crazy. That'd be a crazy move. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I feel like that was just like a match where I was just trying to just like, I don't know. I did not have good draws that match. I probably had the worst draws of the tournament, but because he did not have deadlock, um, I just had water privilege of waiting.
How much Sato practice have you had?
I've only played as Sato a few matches.
Okay.
But like I just figured this guy's trying to stun me a lot. He's trying to play like either a big reciprocal burst or a big 1.3 million. So either way, I need to worry about the low.
Right.
Um, and if I just build up a huge board and I don't get deadlock punished, then his stun won't really matter because I'll still have a billion foundations.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, especially with things like working to your favor, like gotcha, right? Like really good stun hate.
right.
You've got things like desperate times punishing his draw to like end his kill
Yeah,
turns.
great card. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of answers to the order decks under the water symbol. A lot of answers to a lot of decks under the water symbol. Water symbol?
Yeah,
Also the best deck in the format? Question mark.
desperate times. If I wasn't worried about dying, then I would probably hold off on using it until I was ready to backswing, just because it's like then I get to survive easier and kill easier.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like a little two-way in that, and you can just hold off and build up like 2 or 3, and then be like, okay, you're down 3. I'm gonna kill you now.
So in the finals versus a team's national champion, I believe Ryan Kraft I believe is a
Or
Canadian
Minecraft.
national champion. What are your thoughts going to the match? Ochako under Chaos, highly underrated. Highly underrated.
Is it Ryan Field or Ryan Kraft?
I said Ryan Kraft, and I definitely meant to say Ryan Field. I apologize.
Okay.
Two Ryans. Ryan, we'll edit this out. Ryan Field, Canadian team's champion, I believe he's Canadian team's champion. Played you with Ochako under Chaos.
Yeah.
How does it feel? What are your thoughts going
So
into the matchup?
I didn't know really what the point of the chaos was going into the match, but I figured he would try to just do typical Ochako things and put me on a timer. And I felt like I had to actually act more quickly against Ochako than like say Sato, because
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think you can wall perfectly versus an Ochako.
Right.
Like she's just gonna outcard you eventually, um, and just like throw more at the high zone than you can block.
Right.
And so then I realized, like, once I saw him build like double irrefutable, he had the ice storms for breaker 2. I was like, okay, so this is like he has control elements to an aggro deck, but That means he was playing a bit slower. I made a bad blocking decision in game one where I was just trying to block a lot of the early attacks, and then he hit me with the 1.3 million, and I could have blocked. I actually missed an amphibious ready, but because I missed it, I couldn't. I thought that I couldn't block it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if I had ready amphibious, he could have made me recommit it anyway, but that's like another resource, so it still would
Right.
have been good to do.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I ended up face tanking that. If he had another one, I'd just die on the spot. But he didn't, and so he built, and I'm like, okay, now I'm at 8 life. This dude has a 1.3 million and something else, like a meteor shower or something in his momentum. I'm definitely dead next turn if I just like just skip past turn. So I have to act, and my kill string just happened to work out through breaker 2. Got some the eat my sticky balls to clog the card pool.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't use release proactively, so he
Mm.
checked bad, and then he committed too much,
Right.
and then I got to just power through it.
Do you feel like your match with Pippa, who played Ochako under Chaos earlier,
Mhm.
helped prepare you for this match in finals?
So I think yes, but Pippa's deck was a little spicier. Like it was running those Summon Dark Shadows,
Mm-hmm.
and just focused around stringing out more, and I felt like his list was more control-y with the 4 irrefutables main board,
Right.
um, and built for a water deck. Uh, so I feel like I had to be the beatdown more against his list.
Okay.
I feel like Pippa's Ochako, if she went for a Summon Dark Shadow string, I could maybe survive versus that and then backswing. So
Right.
I felt like I could play a little more defensively against that deck. But this one, I felt pressured because my defense was getting locked down by Irrefutable, and the 1.3 million volts early really hurt.
Yeah. I stole pretty much all my games off of Million Volts this past weekend. Ochako turning 2 of that card into 3 of that card is pretty good. Feels pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think I will be blocking like the second meteor shower going forward.
yeah,
But
yeah. So all in all, so you end up taking the chaos match. You win the event. Um,
Mhm.
how do you feel? Are obviously you're happy, right? But are you a little I can't think of the word. Are you sad, disappointed that it wasn't with a bird, or are you just happy to just like just put one up on the scoreboard?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of sad. It was kind of bittersweet that it wasn't the bird, but it was just a meta decision. Like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't personal towards the bird. I still feel like he can get there in certain metas, but I was not looking forward to a meta full of mirrors, even though I never played a true Tokoyami. I only played one game, um,
And lost.
and
And
lost
lost.
to
Confirmed. Pippa's the
it.
better bird than
Yes,
you. Just saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, but I mostly felt like the deck was really fun. Like I love the play style of just like sitting back and building up the perfect turn and then doing everything all in one turn.
Yeah.
Like uh that seems cool because it's the thing that people are like most unprepared for when you're just like sitting back and you like kind of lull them into a false sense of security, and then you just go like boom 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 because they're like, I'm sitting pretty at 29 health, like I'm gonna be fine.
Right.
And then suddenly there's 4 cards in their card pool and they're like, oh my god,
how, did,
please don't check the next
how
one.
did this happen?
Right.
I love that. I love that. Um. So regionals are coming up. Not this weekend at time of recording, but the weekend after. What's the plan? Taking the frog? Are there any changes you want to make to the main deck? Obviously, you had inspiration from Jose's deck, and you made a couple changes. Are there any
Yep.
changes after? I mean, you played 8, 9, 10, 11 rounds with this deck. Anything that you liked that you didn't like about your list?
Yeah, I'm not bothered by keeping things secret, so I'll talk about it.
Love that.
I think the I don't know if I would really make any main board changes, to be honest, or sideboard. The only thing that I've considered is 4 irrefutables between main and side
Mm.
somehow. I never sided into Kamui, and I think that was a mistake. Like I think I should have gone into Kamui versus Mina. and
Okay.
potentially some of the other matchups. But I was just not practiced on Kamui, and I felt like uh Asui could get there. But I really feel like this is almost a near perfect deck. It just seems so balanced to me. Someone Saul mentioned in the chat. I saw him say that not today on a different chat. That my deck stability of like 1.58 is too low, but I feel like that marker on UVS Ultra is kind of misleading because Oswald plays with zero progressive and is probably assuming that you play cards like a normal human being.
Yeah, not like a
So
monster.
yeah, so it's pretty stable. Like you can check badly. And the only thing checking badly does is it affects when you play your frog lashing. Like if you check well, you get to be greedy with your frog lashing and save it for later.
Hmm.
If you check badly, you play your frog lashing earlier and you ready some foundations so that you can afford to check badly for the
Right.
rest of the turn.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. Any
Uh,
So the plan is the frog at regionals. Is that the plan?
yeah, I'll have to test more versus Ochako. I could see myself playing Ochako. I think she's
Ooh.
really strong. I do I've seen your list and but I do like Levy
Levy. No, Levi.
Levy's
Levi.
list.
Levi. 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 Levi.
Levi,
Levi.
yeah. I like his list a lot. Like just the super fast tight list
Mm-hmm.
with the tongue smacks. Like I
Right.
think that's cool.
Yeah.
Uh that's more of like a Tokoyami-esque deck, where it's going for like a hyper aggro strategy that's just consistency.
Right.
Um, but I want like an answer to everything. Like I want to be able to be able to low roll and play like 3 of my worst matchup in a tournament and be able to win. That's like one big thing I look for in a deck. So I want like
Mm.
to not have the lows be so low.
That is
Um,
fair. That is fair. Yeah, and that's I mean that's the reason like you're not on Ayama or something, right? Is like
right.
the character doesn't quite get you there. Very fun to play, very interesting, fun mechanics, but like your bad matchups are pretty bad, and the deck's not doing you a
Right.
ton of favors.
Yeah, that's why I think I wouldn't play Nomu or Racerhead too. Just because like if you have like a match that just absolutely rolls you, I know I'm gonna like play 3 of them.
Of course,
So,
yeah, that's how it goes.
and that's why I didn't take Tokoyami because I didn't want to play 3 Tokoyamis.
Right.
But yeah,
Makes sense. Makes sense. Any shout outs you want to give before we get you out of here?
yeah, local playgroup, Sanctuary, Books and Games, Clinton Thomas, Justin Birch, Will Bryant, Jerry, and just the store owner Sean is super cool. Like even if we have like a slower week for locals, he said like he'll always support the game if there's like just 2 people playing. I'm moving unfortunately, so I'll be sad to leave my locals. But
Oh man. Do you
yeah,
know
if
if there's a
anyone's from,
locals where you're going?
I think there's one that I found. I'm moving to the Phoenix area, and there's one place called Gamers Guild that apparently runs tournaments weekly. So I'm gonna try
Ooh,
that out. But if
that's exciting.
anyone's from like the Phoenix area in the chat or somewhere close to that, I would love to know.
Yeah, let us know whether in chat or here in the comments on YouTube. I'll
Right.
make sure that the connections get made.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I just want to keep grinding. But it'll be so nice to be like closer to Vegas, be able to drive potentially for any tournament.
True, 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 true. True,
Yeah,
true, 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 true.
Brandon Jones is 1 state away. People sad.
Yeah, he's a Vegas guy.
Yeah.
With that, man, I think that's it. Once again, congratulations on your win. Well deserved. You're all the time I see you in my chat. I see you grinding games. I see you pushing the meta on specific characters. And if what you said is true about how often you look at your own matches, you watch content, you play the game, then like it totally makes sense that this is what you got.
Oh, I forgot the most important shout out to you, which is thanks for streaming like so much every week because it definitely keeps me engaged in the community and made a lot of connections like in chat where I know people from chat mutually and like hang out or talk to them or practice with them, whatever. And then get to play against like random people playing like cool decks like every week. That definitely helps.
Well, I appreciate it, but it's your win, buddy. It's your day. It's your day. I don't wanna take the spotlight. You know.
All right, just wait on the blocking seminar
Yeah,
until
yeah,
after
yeah.
the
Till the
regional. Right.
regional, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Yeah, this Monday we've got Blocking 101 coming out, so we gotta dethrone this man. Anywho, man, thank you much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the time on the interview. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us. I cannot state this enough. I do believe if you keep these up, you are rookie of the year, man. Like you're absolutely crushing it. Nobody's coming close from one of us, one of the new heads, the Zoomer My Hero kids. You know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, but I hate hearing rookie of the year, but um, yeah, thanks for all the compliments. It feels nice. I don't think anyone was this nice to Kevin Broberg. I'll say everyone
Oh,
was so nice to me.
everybody boos Kevin Broberg. Kevin Broberg's got his face on 2 cards. He's fine. Kevin Broberg is fine. Well,
Yeah.
with that, man, thank you much, and I appreciate your time. We'll see you next time. Okay.
Have a good night.
Peace.